Good morning. Come on up. My name is Matt Meyer. I'm the Newcastle County Executive. Thank you for being here today. I'm here with Mac Nagaswamy.
McLeod, yep.
McLeod. Mac from Carvertise. I think we all know Mac. Excited to announce a really cool partnership, a new hashtag that's going to keep residents of our county safer. And it's also going to help support a small business at a time when so many small businesses are in need. Carvertise started operations in 2014. As a lot of people know, most startups around the country that started in 2014 aren't around anymore due to the ingenuity, creativity, and hard work, some of which you can see right here, of Mac and his team. A lot of people here today. Carvertise is really one of the thriving small businesses here in the county in Delaware and really selling across the country. Team Mask is about keeping our residents safe. Unfortunately, in this day and age, it's a little bit controversial to stand up and say, hey, everybody, wear a mask. It is uncontroversial among the medical profession, among scientists, that simply putting on a mask helps prevent the spread of a deadly virus. So we want to do everything we can, use every creative tool we can to prevent the spread of this deadly virus, hopefully suppress it and eradicate it from our community. I also want to remind people that right behind me today, right now, there is free, painless COVID-19 testing going on. What we're about today is trying to do things ahead of time to prevent those lines from getting too long, to prevent the numbers coming from that testing from getting too high, so that hopefully in time our schools, our workplaces can open safely, and we can go back to some semblance of normalcy. We're excited. Feel free to take a picture. We're encouraging everyone in the public, if you see one of these, take a picture. You can tweet it out, put it out on Facebook, IG, snap it out, hashtag Team Mask. Without further ado, the CEO of Carvertise and founder of Carvertise, Mac Nagaswamy Macleod.
Hey, Mac, how you doing, buddy? Speak loud. Speak loud. We got enough social distance to do this, right? I think so. All right. Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you, everybody, for coming out this morning. Really lucked out with such a beautiful day, and you know, we're escaping the mid-afternoon heat, so we'll make it quick. But before I tell you about the genesis of the campaign and what this is all about and where it's going, I'd like to give a special thanks to a few people who really did a wonderful job in making this happen. And the first would be Ken Adams and Damon Martin. If you guys could raise your hand, they did a phenomenal job putting together the face mask and figuring out a way to make this possible on the car. Needless to say, you probably haven't seen anything quite like this before. I'd like to give Leah Corrado a thanks, you know, with the camera up in the air right there, for creating the hashtag Team Mask design. So thank you very much, Leah. And Lauren Spinelli, thank you so much for setting all this up. You know, your hard work was definitely evident. And Tara Mogan, thank you for helping us refine, you know, the concept of what we're doing today. So thank you from the Carvertise end of things. And meanwhile, on the county side, of course, Jess Gibson, Tamara, this would not have been possible without you. And I've had the great pleasure of working and finding out about Brian Cunningham's work ethic firsthand. The guy is just nonstop. I don't think he has an off button. So I feel good that we've got somebody like that in government, you know, working for us. So Brian, thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, right, is the indomitable spirit of creativity and resourcefulness and problem solving himself, County Executive Matt Meyer. This whole advertising campaign would not have been possible without him. So let's give him a round of applause too. So how did this all come about? So about 2 months ago, I'm sitting on my couch reading. It's late at night, and I get a little ding on my cell phone. and it's from a friend of the company, Brian Sealander, former campaign manager for Jack Markell and the COO of a highly successful tech company called Ownable. And he sent me a picture of what I guess he dubbed the no maskers. There was an event going on in Dover where I guess a lot of people were protesting the need of wearing masks in public. And he said in a very kind of tongue-in-cheek manner, a half-joking manner, so when are we putting these on? When are we putting some face masks on cars to counter what we're seeing here? And when I first got the message, I thought it was hilarious, and I thought it was quite an outlandish idea. And you know, the problem with being a crazy entrepreneur, as Paul knows, is sometimes you actually run with these crazy ideas because they can be brilliant sometimes. So with that being said, we fell in love with it. It was bold, it was audacious. Consumers are not used to seeing anything remotely close to being this creative. And at a time when you're seeing an uptick in COVID-19 safety messaging, you know, New York City is putting out their own version of wear a mask, and the extent of their creativity is pastel colors and different text, and I applaud their efforts. But we wanted to raise the bar. So I called up the team and I said, let's try creating this. So over the course of, this was 2 months ago, for about 4 weeks, we tested out using different materials, different banner materials, so the airflow could continue to come through the grills to keep the engine cools. We tested different strapping mechanisms and how to keep the face mask tethered to the car. So when you're driving 80 miles an hour, all right, take that back, 65 miles an hour down the highway, it's not flying off, and then it can even hold up to hurricanes like Isaiah and what we experienced yesterday. And finally, you know, the industrial strength zip ties, giving it downward tension. So we figured out a way to take, you know, this modern cultural phenomenon, helping reduce transmissions of COVID-19, face masks, and apply it to cars. And, you know, in typical Delaware fashion, and this is, everybody here will probably resonate with this. I'm running at the riverfront. This is about a week after we created the first prototype, and I run into the great Tamara Morris, and she's asking me about how Carvertise is keeping up with the pandemic. You know, Matt and his team are very concerned and care a lot about small businesses. So she's asking me how Carvertise is doing. And I'm telling her, you know, where we're at and what's going on. And then I told her about this prototype that we're creating for cars, face masks. And she said, you know what, we should talk to the team about this, because I know public health safety messaging is going to be a large priority right around the corner. And knowing the administration, they like to be creative, they like to be bold, they like to be resourceful, they like to do things that other county governments and other governments are not doing. So we hopped on the phone with Matt and Brian and his team, Jess, and they wanted to be the first county government in the United States to leverage their own fleets and turning them into armadas of messaging vehicles to help curb the spread of COVID-19. They wanted to use the mileage organically being put on by these public works vehicles and these paramedic vehicles to help raise and elevate a message that we need to hear more and more these days, just on the importance of wearing a face mask, the importance of using this to stop that, you know. And what's behind me is lines of people getting tested to see if they're positive or negative for COVID-19. So what you see here is 11 vehicles, 11 county vehicles, a interesting medley of both paramedic vehicles and public works vehicles. These are vehicles that are going to testing sites, they're going to construction sites, they're going to parks and recreational sites, and they're extremely high exposure. So Matt and Brian and his team specifically requested from Public Works to pick the vehicles that had the highest exposure to the public. And that is a combination of both driving mileage and parking exposure. So over the course of the next 3 months to come, you'll be seeing a ton of hashtag Team Mask, a lot of face masked county vehicles driving up and down, through and across the county. And I encourage you, when you see it, take a picture of it, use the hashtag Team Mask. Why we like that tagline so much is it follows science, and I know that's something that the county has believed in and has used to stop the spread of COVID-19 throughout Newcastle County since day one. Hashtag Team Mask. What team are you on? We stand for science. So that is the message that we wanted to promote. So I look at what we're doing here today as being highly symbolic of the Meyer administration at large, right? Just being resourceful, being creative, problem solving in ways that you never thought before. We're getting attacked by a problem that we've never seen before. And instead of doing the tried and true, using the old playbook, sometimes you got to elevate the bar. And this level of creativity and resourcefulness that we're seeing out of the county is second to none. And I think that it says a lot about the county and the administration for just the level of creativity that they're willing to employ to fight COVID-19. So again, I want to thank you all for coming out today. Thank you, County Executive Meyer and the rest of his team. Thank you to the press for coming out, the county team, and the Carvertise team. And without further ado, I think Matt and I will go over to his car and we will ceremoniously put the face mask on top of Matt's car. Shall we do it?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want your book, Matt?
Yeah.